Everybody thought it was just another normal behind-the-scenes friendship, until Bryan Okwara finally said something that completely changed the way fans started looking at him and Sonia Uche. Because for the longest time people have been watching these two, and quietly saying the same thing over and over again, that there is absolutely no way all this chemistry is only acting loudly crying face. And honestly, the reactions have been wild, because Bryan has always been one of those calm actors that rarely speaks too much about personal feelings, especially when it concerns female colleagues, so the moment he finally opened his mouth and admitted what people have been suspecting for a very long time, the internet practically exploded collision, because fans immediately started connecting old videos, old interviews, old movie scenes, and even random moments they ignored before, and suddenly everything started making sense. Flushed broken. The craziest part is that this whole thing did not even start today, because if we are being honest, fans have been noticing the energy between Bryan and Sonia for a very long time now, especially whenever they appear together in movies or interviews, because there is always this unusual comfort around them that doesn't look forced at all, and you can literally feel it through the screen. Loudly crying face. People kept saying the eye contact was too intense, the smiles were too natural, and the way Bryan looks at Sonia sometimes doesn't even look scripted anymore, and even though both of them kept acting like nothing serious was happening, fans refused to let it go, because the chemistry was becoming impossible to ignore. Broken heart. There were moments in interviews where Sonia would be talking, and Bryan would just sit there smiling quietly at her, like someone who already understands everything about her, without needing extra explanations, and viewers noticed it immediately. Loudly crying face. Then there were movie scenes where the emotions looked way too real, especially romantic scenes, because instead of feeling like acting, it almost looked like two people expressing something they had already been hiding for a long time. And honestly, that's exactly why their movies keep trending, because viewers are addicted to whatever energy these two have together. Collision. Some fans even started saying Bryan behaves differently around Sonia compared to other actresses, because usually Bryan is very composed and mature around people, but whenever Sonia is around, his entire expression changes. Suddenly he becomes softer, calmer, more playful, and even more protective, and people started noticing tiny details like how he pays attention whenever she speaks, or how he sometimes stares at her when she isn't even looking at him. Flushed face. And once fans start noticing those kind of details, there is no going back, because social media immediately turns into investigation headquarters. Skull. Then came the interviews that made everything worse. Loudly crying face, because anytime interviewers asked them relationship-related questions, both Bryan and Sonia would start laughing nervously or changing the topic, and fans already know that behavior too well, because once celebrities start dodging simple questions, the internet automatically assumes there's something deeper going on. Broken heart. People kept saying if nothing was happening, then why do they always look shy whenever someone mentions their chemistry? Loudly crying face. But what really shocked viewers recently was the moment Bryan finally admitted something that fans had been waiting years to hear, because during a conversation about acting chemistry and working relationships, he openly admitted that Sonia Uche is one of the easiest people he has ever connected with emotionally on screen and off-screen. Flushed face. Now, to normal people, that statement may sound harmless, but fans already knew there was more hidden inside those words, because Bryan is not the type of actor that throws emotional compliments around carelessly. Collision. And the moment he said it, social media immediately lost control, because people started screaming that he finally confessed without fully confessing. Loudly crying face. Some viewers even said Bryan looked unusually emotional while talking about Sonia, because his tone changed completely, and you could literally see the sincerity in his face. Loudly crying face. He wasn't sounding like someone promoting a movie anymore. He sounded like someone speaking from genuine feelings, and honestly, that's what made fans go crazy, because people are very good at detecting fake chemistry from real emotions, and whatever Bryan showed during that moment looked extremely real. Broken heart. Then fans started reposting old clips again, especially those moments where Bryan and Sonia looked too comfortable around each other behind the scenes. There was one clip where Sonia was laughing uncontrollably, while Bryan just stood there staring at her with the biggest smile, and people immediately started saying, "This man is gone already." Loudly crying face. Another video showed them walking together, while Bryan instinctively adjusted something on Sonia's outfit without even thinking twice, and viewers kept saying those small natural actions are usually impossible to fake. Collision. Honestly, the funniest thing about this entire situation is how hard both of them tried to act normal for so long, because every time fans pushed dating rumors, they would always respond carefully without fully denying anything, and that only made people even more suspicious. Broken heart, because if there's one thing the internet loves, it's mysterious celebrity chemistry, and Bryan and Sonia have been feeding fans accidental romantic tension for months now. Loudly crying face. Some fans even believe Sonia already knew Bryan felt this way long before he finally admitted it publicly, because the way she behaves around him looks very different. Too flushed face. Whenever Bryan speaks, she pays full attention, and sometimes she smiles in that shy, quiet way that immediately makes viewers start screaming in comment sections. Loudly crying face. There are even moments where they seem to forget cameras are around them completely, and those are usually the moments fans replay the most, because they feel the most genuine. Collision. People also started comparing Bryan and Sonia to other Nollywood pairs, and many viewers believe their chemistry feels more natural than most on-screen couples right now, because there's no visible forcing, no unnecessary drama, and no overacting. Loudly crying face. Everything about them looks effortless, and that's exactly why fans became emotionally invested in whatever is happening between them. Broken heart, because audiences can forgive bad acting, but they cannot ignore authentic chemistry when they see it. Flushed face. Another thing people keep mentioning is how protective Bryan seems around Sonia. Loudly crying face. There have been multiple events where fans noticed Bryan quietly watching out for her, making sure she was comfortable or helping her during awkward moments, and honestly, viewers notice those things immediately, because small actions usually reveal bigger emotions. Collision. Some fans even said Bryan behaves more like a man trying to protect someone special than just a random colleague. Loudly crying face. Then social media did what social media always does. Loudly crying face. People started making edits, slow motion videos, romantic compilations, and dramatic music montages of Bryan and